All right, getting the white pieces. Gonna be opening up with queen spawn. When it plays knight f6, which is gonna be met by bishop to f4. Knight f3 is also reasonable, but I generally like to start with the bishop a little bit more against the knight move. And yeah, now we're just getting back into the kind of normal copycat variation, it seems, or Slav. So c6 move is definitely making it a Slav now, but e6 is another big line for black there, which is the copycat, where I recommend playing bishop d3 and just taking with the pawn, trying to play for the nice center after we play knight c3 first, of course. Now, against the c6, if you're like really lazy, you could still be going for bishop to d3 and get a very similar position to what we do in the copycat. But I think against the Slav, it is really worth trying this c4 move with the idea to play queen b3 next, because it's not gonna be so easy for black to defend this pawn after developing the bishop to f5. And in this position, they have like three main moves. Queen b6 is the most common one. b6 is what the lower rated players do regularly. And queen c8 is kind of the main line in OTB, supposed to be the best move for black. Against this, just gonna play knight c3, rook c1. And we're having some pretty deadly traps. After like knight d7 or, yeah, actually knight d7, I think it's the move here. Maybe opponents would take. Taking is kind of avoiding these cd5, knight b5 kind of tricky stuff that we have. So definitely a move. Not really equalizing for black, but at least not losing immediately. So I think we're just going to continue with castle. And normally this rook will go to d1, knight to e5, and potentially we can try to bring the bishop back to f3. That would be like one idea that I'm considering. The other one would be to play knight e2 with e4. Actually, I think I've got a pretty interesting maneuver. So knight e2, bishop e2, bishop f3, and then knight c4. I think that's pretty strong. Now, which one to start with? Bishop e2 or... I don't know, bishop e2 kind of allows knight e4. I think just gonna start this way. Idea to play here and there. I know I've seen this at some point. I think it's an idea similar to this is mentioned in the course. Probably it's not in like this super specific position, but it is definitely quite thematic in the structure after they go DC and we have to take with a piece. So bishop would be better placed there. Ideally, we would be able to push the b pawn, but the queen is now staying in the way. Against knight d5, that's hitting our bishop. So I think we're just going to be stepping back with the idea to meet knight takes with pawn takes, I think, and just improving control over the center overall. So just going to do that. Now we could potentially keep expanding with either e4 or just try bishop f3 with c4, c5. Not the easiest plan. Also, a4 is pretty tempting because now knight e5 we will be having a fork, and also after a4 black is lacking the standard reply because the knight remains undefended, so a4 looks pretty good. c5 is something that I'm slightly concerned by, but I guess just a5 and sort of same unpleasant threats. Maybe queen d5 could be a move. I thought there is at least c4. Maybe queen a5 hitting the knight, trying to blockade the queenside. It doesn't really feel too natural to me, but maybe it could work. Hard to find another move. He plays rook c, but I was just losing a piece because it was last square of the knight. Now we just have a5. And after knight e5, we have a fork, simply winning the piece. So, okay, opponent pretty helpful in that manner. He didn't do anything to like counter this idea, but even so, made it stronger for us because the rook c8 took away the last escaping square of the knight. So received a little bit of help, but I think the position was already slightly better thanks to the improved control over the center, if that makes any sense. Well, basically just have these pawns that normally give us an edge because we can push them in the center and we control a lot of squares, and all of black's pieces are kind of restricted. Now, he's losing a piece, so moves back, cashing the knight. Takes back this way. Can't play rook b1 because the bishop covers it, so be careful. Can try something concrete like c4 and then take with a knight. Queen d4 is a thing, but I think there's queen b7, so this should probably be good enough. Just trying to take this, open up the position, create a target. Take it with a knight. Now knight e5 idea. Take on g6. If they take, this pawn I think is winnable. Yeah. Just take on b7 as promised, and rook b8 would be a pretty funny mistake. A lot of people tend to forget about the land and bishop. He'll probably play bishop f6, but then maybe knight d6 looks quite tempting, hitting the rook. Bishop g5, hitting this one. I could also play rook f d1. Maybe I'm just going to use this one just because it's under attack. Hitting the enemy queen. Now, expecting moves such as queen e4, but then knight d6 I think is problematic. And knight d6 would have been forking both the queen and the rook. And on queen c5, could be doing knight e5. Is it time to play bishop d6? I mean, the queen doesn't have that many squares, but it's also not like the queen gets trapped. So I'm not super sure. I think knight e5 is pretty nice. Maybe rook b8 there's a pretty funny queen takes knight d7 motif. Probably not gonna do that, but I could simply go knight d7 and exchange queens. Because we have an extra piece, it's gonna be like a pretty easy endgame to convert, and could also do other things in that position. So okay, he just goes for the pawn grab. Now, idea was to eliminate the bishop, after which we could start hitting the f7 square. So bishop c4, if he plays rook f8, that actually allows bishop takes f7. Queen c7 may be a move, but then rook d, oh, queen 7, not really a move. Forgot about. I even forget about the land and bishop sometimes. So yeah, like queen f5 sort of only move, but then rook to d7. And he's got like really a lot of problems. No way to protect this actually. Rook f8, but then rook f7, and we pick up this guy that's gonna remain unprotected. So I think at this point it should be a relatively easy win, just because we're about to take over f7. There's no way for him to like even attack my queen, just because the land and bishop is doing such a great job controlling the square and this whole diagonal. Opponent taking his time, not really that much of a choice, I would say, that he has. Probably sometimes when they are taking so much time, you might even see a resignation, but we'll see. Like, not even moving the king helps here, because take on f7 and then on g7. He makes that move. Just thinking to play it this way, king will move, and then not sure what to do. I think just taking with the rook feels kind of natural. He's gonna move. Okay, he goes there, which is like a little bit surprising, but still probably doable. Still completely winning for us. Now h4, h5 would be something quite promising, I think. Still no way for him to like even attack my queen, because this is covered. And yeah, just push. If he takes, this diagonal opens up. If he takes with the queen, there's rook f6, picking up the bishop. So yeah, you're probably gonna do this, and maybe we just play rook d1. threatening bishop d3. Guys, I've got a pretty sexy move. Watch this. We're gonna go bishop 8. I think that's a sexy move. Just threatening a little something with the bishop. Plays king h6. Oh my god, this is getting into the mating zone. Gonna do this. Hopefully we can sack the rook next. It's probably gonna go to g5 though, and I don't see a mate immediately. But we should have something. Maybe just like simply f4. Yeah, so we have this. We need a good one here. Where's my good win? Okay, so f4. If he checks, king h2. I assume we should win that. Don't really see like an immediate win though. Where is my beautiful win? I don't see a beautiful win. I don't like this. Should probably bring in more pieces. That would be a pretty interesting concept. How about like using my rook? That is probably an interesting idea. What do you guys think? Oh, I think I've got a good one. Rook d1, rook d8. I don't know. Okay, gotta do this. Expecting rook d8. I don't have anything prepared against that, but I've got a trap. I want to go rook f6 next, if he allows it. Hopefully he'll push, and then we go rook f6. Rook d8, we still win, but we don't win in like a pretty way. Unfortunately. Okay, he goes h4, which I think still allows this. Because pawn takes, runs into queen h7, checkmate. Do not forget about the b1 bishop. Here, just doing tremendous job. And after queen f6, there is rook d6. Winning the queen. And with that, probably a checkmate will happen very soon. Yeah. Winning the queen. Running bishop f4 among other things. So if he takes, we just pick up the queen, queen h7, queen g6, and then either queen f5 or g3, bishop f5 mate. So this is gonna be leading to a forced one. Got the queen coming over, covered by the bishop. Do not forget about that. And now we've got to check. Here there is queen g3. And there is pawn checkmate. I don't think we can force pawn checkmate against this, but well, actually maybe we can. So if we take here, he goes king there. That's not a pawn checkmate still, so just gonna be going for the mate in one, and we managed to cash in this game. Now, if we're going back a little bit, I think opponent tried like sort of an interesting line. I don't see dc4 very often, like most people play knight b d7 in this position. If we're going into the analysis tab, I can actually show you better. So the point is that on knight d7 we can go cd, and important move for black is to take with a knight, which like most people don't do. And like after knight takes on d5 in that position, if chess.com allows me to make any moves, hopefully it will. The point is to play bishop g3. I think that's what I recommend in my London course, and we are just slightly better with these pawns in the center. But most people take this way with the e pawn, and after knight b5, castles, bishop d6, queen d8, queen a3, white gets a pretty winning position, because black will be forced to do something like bishop takes on d6, hit the f5 guy, b7 as well. Just end up winning free pawn in these lines. This is pretty well known. That's what makes this c4 push very effective. So for those of you that are wondering, okay, but like how to figure out when it's the time to play this c4 move in the London, because c3 is like so common, such a common move for the London. It's done like more frequently. Well, I would say generally against the c6 move, when you say it's a Slav and your knight is still on b1, c4 is good. Like you want to combine c4 with knight c3. So against the Slav works well. If you see a knight in front of the c-pawn in the Chigorin, it works well. If your opponent plays f5, which is the Dutch, then the plans with c4 work very well again. And yeah, hope that makes it a little bit easier to understand. And then obviously decisive mistake was rook f8. If he doesn't play that and he goes like, let's say maybe queen d5. See, this is a move that I was considering. I wasn't sure how to reply against this. I think queen b2 would have been interesting. Not sure I would have played it. c4 looks quite tempting, but then queen a5. And I don't know. I'm not like so sure how to continue here. Queen d5 would have definitely been a better try for my opponent. But yeah, after this, maybe even e4 would have been slightly more accurate, not to allow queen d5 and then a4. This would have been perhaps a bit better, but we wouldn't have kept this chance of going for the fork that ultimately gave us the free win. So curious about the game review. Actually scored a 91, so not bad first game of the session. All right, getting the white pieces. It is London system time. Which one? Pawn on d5 and bishop to f5. This is like a pretty odd move order. I don't think we'll like really focus a lot on it in the course because it is most likely gonna transpose into the copycat or the Slav. See, we have the copycat because black literally has an identical setup, and well, c4 could be an interesting idea. I'm not really a huge fan of it because give black the opportunity to take and then throw in a check. We'll have to move the king, and even though that is a theoretical line that could be interesting to play, I think it's definitely pretty tricky to play, especially for lower rated players. So I think the easiest and perhaps the best chance in this position is just to play bishop d3. And I'm saying that because c4, bishop takes b1, queen b1, even if you play it perfectly, black is still able to get pretty comfortable position. So gonna go bishop d3, takes and takes with the pawn. That is the plan. Normally they take, or bishop g6 or knight e4. Those are like the most common moves that I see. If opponent plays like bishop e7 and we just double up their pawns. Here he goes for g4, which is actually pretty interesting. I think I'm just gonna go h3, see what he wants to do with the bishop. If he takes, I'm gonna take with my queen. Seems to be going back, which definitely leading to some not very standard positions. Still debating whether to play with c4 or not. Probably we will be playing without c4 and just do kind of knight bd2. I'm wondering though, like knight bd2, he could be playing c5, and I'm not like so sure what to do there. So considering c3 just so we can meet c5 with queen b3, that doesn't really work. Okay, I'm actually not very familiar with this line. It's actually, I think, super rare. Trying to come up with a plan. You could just do knight d2, c3 and be like less ambitious. Could just do c4 as well. Could castle first and see what he has in mind. I think we start with castles. If bishop d6, maybe just exchange and play c4. That's what I'm thinking. Yeah, that seems to be happening. Bishop g5 in this case is not really that effective since we have no pressure in the center. So normally we do that when we have some cd5 with the knight there. Against this, I think we just exchange. Probably takes with a queen. Taking with a pawn is viable, but bit risky. Against this, I think I might just play c3. No need to do c4 anymore. Case of e5, I think just stepping back with a bishop. Getting to play like just knight e2. Just get a solid setup. Should be slightly better overall just because of the nicer pawn structure. Looking for queen b3 ideas. We're going to be putting a little bit of pressure on the queen side. Queen b3, queen a3 is usually a pretty nice maneuver. Like for instance now in case of knight a5, we might just play queen a3. Keep in mind I played knight bd2 first, so this knight is protected. Therefore our queen can safely move. Okay, now I think just queen a3. Could also play a4 and then queen a3. I was giving him the opportunity to play b5 and then do a4, but it doesn't seem to be very interested. The other idea is just to go queen a3 c4. Could also play rook e c1. I think I'll just do rook e c1. Seems like a useful move to me just because we're about to deliver c4. Okay, we see b5. Now a4 was the idea. Maybe it would have been a little bit more precise to use the other rook. This position would have obviously been very nice to have the rook on a1, putting pressure on the file. I just assumed a4 would be good here no matter what. And against knight a5, probably just queen a3, and against knight c4 we could take it. I'm not sure. I also have the option to play queen a2, and on knight c4 there's ab winning a pawn. So I think against knight a5, queen a2 is precise, and then he has to decide. If he plays something like b takes a4, just take it with a queen, and we're having nice pressure on the queen side because of the isolated a6 pawn. Just look how nice of a pawn structure we have. Super compact. We no longer need to push. Maybe just b4 so we can fix his weakness. Could start with rook a1 as well. Yeah, I think I just like b4 trying to fix his pawn. Not really trying anything like that yet. Maybe just knight b3 in some positions. Although this knight has the goal to protect the knight. And now we're not going to be trading because this is his weak pawn. We're going to be doing b5. Hitting the knight. And we're keeping his isolated pawn on the board. Maybe now after he moves the knight, I'm assuming e7. Maybe we've got an interesting c4 idea. Case of takes. Potentially take it with a rook. Even with a knight might not be so terrible. Could also play bishop e2. I think I just like a slow move such as bishop e2 idea to go c4 and then take with a knight. So that bishop takes on f3, we have bishop takes on f3. Just some small prophylaxis here and there, but it should be good. I don't really see an opponent, a way for my opponent to counter us in time. Maybe knight e4 could be an interesting move here that I sort of underestimated. Just trying to exchange our knight. Goes there instead. So I don't think that's really stopping c4. Case of knight b6, there's queen a2. Everything is covered. We don't really have much, but I think it's a little bit of something. Just take with a knight. Looks pretty juicy. Hey, Mr. Birdfish, my guy from Austin. How are you? Threatening to move the knight basically to e5, maybe use the c6 outpost. Against this, there is takes. There's also queen a2 as a move. Queen a3, move as well. Not so easy to actually do anything here. I would like to play queen a2 and take with the rook, try to double up, but then he has rook c8 and I'm like struggling to find a follow-up. Alright, we've got to take this one. Just gotta play it super solid. He's hitting my rook, I don't really mind. We have rook c4 as a move. d5 weakens this square. I don't play rook c3 because of knight e5, but maybe that's not a problem as well because of this. Preparing to double up, expecting him to play something like rook c8. Now rook c, maybe we could just do knight e2 because this is no longer pinned. We could get like the knight to c4 again, that would be pretty awesome, but requires a little bit of help from my opponent. Yeah, bring the rook and then rook c8, knight e2. I think that's the play. Otherwise, this could be an idea. So he goes rook b8, but just knight e2. Also, rook c7 doesn't do much. So yeah, just this. Queen b5 is a blunder because of rook c8 and we pick up his queen. Now, rook c7 might be something. Still not clear though. After this move, maybe even bishop f3 sometimes. Rook a7, however. Do I want to push e4? Could be a nice move, but also a bit weakening. Shutting down his bishop at least. You know, maybe e4 it's actually nice. In case he plays king h7, just threatening queen b5. Might be able to drop it back to c3 or play rook c7. Don't really see a clear way to make progress, but I think, in fact, this is a threat. And then takes, and then play knight c4. Hitting both pawns. So I think we're actually in pretty decent shape now. It's just that it is not super obvious. But I think rook c7 is huge threat. And okay, against knight d5, that is giving us a pretty juicy square to infiltrate. At least last time I checked. So he was supposed to do queen d8 because I was thinking this blunders a pawn. I could also do knight c4. Then he's got queen b5. And then we've got a nice one. Alright, so I'm trying to take with a knight. Let's see if we debate him. Looks like the pawn on b5 is takeable now because bishop's no longer protecting it. But there we have a pretty nice tactical motive. You guys can try to spot it. Hopefully it will happen on the board. It's like very instructive. Yeah, so now, because he takes with the queen, we just have classical decoy or whatever this is called. He's just very nice. He's like either dropping the queen after takes or when he's queen and then pick up the free rook. So I think it's better for him just to capture the rook now. but he's still dead lost. Yeah, now with the extra rook, it's easy win. That was pretty juicy one. Not gonna lie, I had it many times in OTB as well. It's one of the like most satisfying options or like motifs, I'd rather say. They just never expect it, you know. It's just like so deadly. Just winning on the spot, winning big, winning the house. Okay, extra rook. What is opponent playing for? D6 is dropping as well. Give me the free pawn. Okay, just go back. Need one pin, not to B1, because that's covered by his bishop. Yeah, I want to just make sure everything's protected so he can play 95. Hmm. 95, take the bishop if possible. Just exchange everything. Just 95. Eyeing the g6 bishop. Taking it, and let's start attacking the knight. 95 bishop f3. Hitting this guy. Now, time to infiltrate. If 98, rook c8. If 95, always take the knight when we can. Just because we exchange everything. That's the easiest way to convert. So he's preparing knight g5. That's not really an issue. It's gonna go there, but we can try to get rid of the knight. Either forcing the trade, and now he's just losing control over the 7th rank. Ready to pick up the pawns one by one. Hopefully he's gonna allow checkmate. Looks like he's not. Sadly, but still I got a pretty nice idea. Let's do f4. Wanna play rook h7, rook g7, rook g5 and mate him. Not sure if he's gonna allow that. Just one step forward. This is big frat. No checks for him. And this is coming. Come on. Now he's gotta allow us to checkmate. Okay, have rook g5. Pawn cannot take because of the pin. And king h4 only move. And we simply get the mate in one and managed to cash in this game. I think overall was probably closer than it looked. I have to say, it felt like I got a little bit of something. It's true I played it a bit slow. I got a little bit surprised in this opening by his bishop g4 move, which is not that common. Apparently I scored a 93, which is not necessarily what I was expecting, but to say I played a lot of natural moves in the opening in particular. And yeah, like if he was taking with a queen on d6, that was like first motif. think I would have probably continued with c4. Just try to play in like Queen's Gambit fashion. Try to go for the minority attack with Rook c1. Took with the pawn, and we're just like slightly better in the structure overall. I wasn't sure about like Queen b3. I could start a4 as well. But yeah, now b5 was a little inaccurate as expected. Maybe Rook fc1 is just a little bit more precise here. Now that I'm thinking about it, maybe Rook fc1 is just tiny bit more accurate because the Rook ended up not doing much on f1. But okay, once we get this position, it should be quite pleasant. a5 was clearly a mistake. You should just wait with more patience because a pawn on a5, it's going to be easier to attack than one on a6. So as long as you keep advancing that pawn, it's always going to be more vulnerable. And okay, bishop e2 was pretty slow. I agree. c4 and taking with the rook would have been really what the position called for. But yeah, here knight e4 felt like a good move for him. Not even suggested by the computer in the top 3. Interesting. Guess I would have just played rook fd1. Okay, that's not a move because of knight c3, I guess. What to do against knight e4? Okay, for sure I wouldn't have played g4 in this position. Knight e4 would have been pretty interesting. But once we got in this, I feel like we had some pressure. Especially now on knight e2. I was expecting him to do something. Okay, he should have played rook on the 7th because otherwise I'm going there. So I was saying that this position should be winning for us, I think, after knight c4, hitting both pawns. So this is apparently true, but okay, after knight d5, we had like such a nice motif here. Rook c8. And he's just like losing material like a lot. Then the rest was pretty easy. What do I recommend against the fantasy? I recommend e5 and play the twisted fantasy. Hey, chocolate Cheetos, what's up? 5-card draw, how's it going? The poker guy. Is the London such a slow opening that it takes you so many moves to beat inferior players? Well, it is not about like winning in 10 moves or in 50 moves. That's not like the right approach to chess. Also, you have to realize that a lot of these 50 movers are usually easier than some games that finish in 20 moves because you just get like, let's say, easy positions that are just a grind, but a grind where you have a lot of like natural moves. So, okay, what was like really all that difficult that I did in this game? I got, let's say, this position, and this is just sort of a nice risk-free position to push. Like, you can never really lose this, and you just squeeze your opponent. And already we're playing like pretty decent opponents in like 1700 ratings, so I wouldn't really expect to be able to win in 20 moves very often. Yes, it's still doable, especially in sharper lines, but when they play these type of variations, such as the copycat, which is really one of the biggest counters and the best lines that black has against the London, it's not gonna be easy wins. But as long as you have an easier position, you just go for the squeeze. So yeah, I think we checked everything that it was important in this game. All right, getting the white pieces. It is London system time, and it looks like opponent has got a little trappy trap for us. Gonna play d6. Try to hit me with the Eric Rosen trap. Too bad we're not gonna be taking, and we're simply gonna go bishop g5. I don't think it was here, although it could be here. Only decent move is Queen d7 as far as I can remember. Wait, was it in this position? I think it's in this position. I think this is what I recommend in my course, and like knight e7 is even worse for some reason. Just go knight c3. Plays c6. Now, could do this for sure, just take. After ed6, knight e7. Yes, I know that trap, I know. Everybody knows it, I'm pretty sure. ed6, knight e7. That is the trap. Popularized by none other than Eric Rosen. And yeah, I'm just like debating. I think 94 should be pretty strong. Hitting both of these guys. Taking on d6 was like completely fine as well, but this just looks so much better. I don't really see a way for opponent to protect. Like he could maybe give queen a5 check, but after c3, again, like the issue remains the same. Hard for him to even like castle or do anything really. Like ed6 is coming and then the knight is like also pinned. There's like so many issues for my opponent in this position. Okay, queen to b6. This is covered. Can take, then he moves the knight. Maybe he wants this. So how about we get rid of c5 bishop? Taking on d6 would have been probably even more precise. But this can't hurt, and now queen d6 felt good. Hitting the knight. Not so easy to defend. Oh, he just has knight f5. Queen d6 was such a terrible move. Oh my god, I can't believe I played that. You just go knight f5. I feel so stupid about myself now. Oh my gosh, I thought we have checkmate on d8, but I don't know. It's just like something in my brain cracked. Jesus. But okay, we should be like in decent shape after like queen d3 or whatever. He goes to g6, which is like even stranger. Decision, just gonna long castle. Got a little frat. Just a little. No idea why he did not play knight f5. Hitting my queen. Now he's forced to play like something on d7. But then just e4, I guess. Okay, bishop e6, but can checkmate the England player. Let's go. Alright, this was a strange game. Just like, I even gave him a chance, but then he allowed me to mate. But okay, we'll take these. I guess everybody that lost once to that queen trap is pretty satisfied seeing this. Just a quick reminder, do not do this. Black wins the queen. Do anything but that, then you should be okay. Okay, getting the white pieces, facing a 1700 opponent, which looks to be a pretty big fan of the French defense. So I'm just gonna go bishop f4. Idea to meet c5 with e3. And against f5, is just gonna be your average Dutch defense enjoyer. So just gonna be going e3. And gonna be sticking with core spread mainly. And we're gonna be doing bishop e2 castle. I noticed here, like, common mistake that people normally do, they rush with c4, knight c3, which gives black ideas to play bishop b4, knight e4. That's why it's better to start with the bishop move and castle. Now expecting them to play bishop e7, even bishop d6 is a line that's covered in the course. We can simply take. We can also play c4, but I think taking is the easiest. By the way, I don't really remember. No, I think I might have messed up the prep. I think in the course I might be recommending c4, just because taking is the move that I recommend against the stone wall structure. It's still like playable nevertheless. Both moves are like fine. I think keeping the tension and allowing them to take on f4 is a bit better. But we can play this one as well. Now, thinking whether it's time to push. Could do b4, queen b3. Could do knight e2, bishop f3 as well. I think I'll start a4. If we get to force a5, b5 square is pretty juicy. Not sure a4 is like the right move, but it feels like pretty good. Thank you for that, Raging Wrath. Appreciate you coming here from Europe. See, guys, that's why you should come here live and pay your respects. I mean, that's not the word because I'm not dead, but the stream will be dead if you're not here. So let's just push c5. If he takes, we're happy. We're keeping his bishop locked inside the pawn chain. Threatening to just expand, basically. Against knight e4, we can take or play rook c1. Pretty strange structure, not gonna lie. But I think we should be a little bit better with the extra space. Nice majority on the queenside. Passed pawn. Yeah, so knight e4. Not sure I want to take. I could take and just play knight e5. That could be reasonable. Could also just do rook c1. But I mean, let's just get rid of his knight. Why not? Maybe he wanted DE, which was interesting move there. I think he deserves more attention than he gave it. Just to get d5 square. Okay, so he plays knight c6. I kind of anticipated something like this could happen and was okay entering a position where we trade knights just because we have the superior bishop. Just take. If he takes with a pawn, then we still have pressure there. I think maybe just b5. Keep attacking. Queen b3, rook c1 are two potential candidates. Next. Yeah, I'm happy when he takes for sure, I think. Yes, he can maybe get the center, but I think these pawns really have potential. Like, just imagine rook b1, b6 ideas, or like queen b3, b6 ideas, and the pawns are gonna be pretty far advanced. So he's attacking this guy. I can defend with rook c1. Queen d4 allows d5, so I prefer just covering it this way. Next up, maybe even a5 can be considered. cb5, c6 being one of the moves. Definitely not the most standard game, but I think we're very much in control just because we have nice pawns on the queen side. It doesn't really matter that he has extra pawns in the center here, I think. Even b6 is sometimes a move, but queen b3 needs to be played. It's just like such a nice move, so useful. Supporting future b6 push. Could literally just do b6, a5, a6 and win. And we don't have to like do anything like interesting, anything tricky in this game. Just like push the pawns. Just gonna do that. That's like what I liked about the London in general. Maybe I kinda rushed with that. Somewhat underestimated that he can go rook a8 on the next move. I could also take with a queen, by the way. That might be even stronger because it's supporting a5, a6. I think taking with the queen is better. I think if I take this way, rook a8, rook a5 is kind of stopping my pawns for a bit. So we'll take this way. Just want to push the pawn to a6. It's going to be protected by my e2 bishop. It's going to be a huge concern for my opponent, and it should be keeping his pieces kind of tied down to defense. How come I never get a pass pawn with a London? Are you probably doing something wrong? I don't know. I don't know what you're doing, okay? I haven't checked out your games. Like just rook b1 here. Pinning the bishop. Giving up the queen for two rooks would be huge here because we've got like so many open files that we could use to infiltrate. If the position is more like close and there are no like open files for the rooks, usually the queen tends to perform better. But when it's a position like this, it's for sure the rooks that are way stronger. And I think now he's like quite in trouble. Threatening to play a6 next. Maybe moves such as queen e8 could be doable just to meet a6 with bishop a8. But when he does that, it's clearly lost. Not only because I'm getting the rooks, but I'm also getting the bishop, which is pretty important. Could do queen b7. I'll just move the rook anywhere. Probably to e8 just to attack his pawn. Also, he takes. Can keep pushing. Try a7. Rook h8. That's kind of the plan here to promote. So I could do a7 and then he wants queen a3 to slow down the pawn. I think that's his idea. Could do maybe bishop g5, try to bring the bishop over. I don't really see a way to easily win there, but I think I'll just play bishop g4. In case of d4, we want to go check and pick up this guy. Also d4, I could play a7 maybe, forcing queen a3 and then do the same. Okay, looks like the opponent has some connection issues. Seems like he's back. I'll probably push d4 and I'll go a7. Forcing queen onto the a file. Because I'll be threatening rook aj check, promoting. And then bishop f5, bishop e4. Seems to be very much in control. If he doesn't play d4, maybe we just make a loft. We're chilling. Like if he doesn't move the pawn and he just goes queen a5. Okay, he does that. So he's preparing this. I could do h4 just to make a loft. Play h3 as well. What do I want to play? Okay, I think we've got this as a strong move. Threatening a7 and then we have bishop c6. No need to make the loft. We can just win it by force. So d4, a7. Threatening this move and then we queen with check. He's gonna do this and then we have bishop c6. Once again, renewing this threat. Rook h8 and then get a new queen. So we give up a rook, but we get a new queen, which is definitely worth it. Hey, thank you for that, Brett. Appreciate you're enjoying the content. Thank you for that. Feels good to hear. Now, yeah, we're just gonna do this. Get a new queen. Having the extra rook and extra bishop. Can just start collecting pawns and exchange everything. No need to like search for the forced mate or anything like that. So yeah, he just resigns and we managed to get a game. Now, wondering whether this made any sense or not, because I've got to confess, this was a pretty weird pawn structure. I think we can both agree on that. Go to 93. Not bad in a structure that was unfamiliar. As I was saying earlier, I wasn't super sure of a4 as a move. but I think it was decent. And everything looked alrighty to me. We just have pressure on the queen side, and I think taking with the queen was important. Okay, taking with the pawn was fine as well. But yeah, after we pinned him, it was like, he was in trouble. So yeah, earlier in the opening, for sure, something that needs to be discussed. I think c4 is what I recommend in my London course, and just allow the structure. Is like very nice and simple to play. Just go rook e1, bishop f1, push d5. White has a pretty easy game ahead. I think if I could change something, maybe it's this, but I think the game ended up being pretty interesting. I kind of confused it because I remember from the Dutch we're like doing something similar, but I'm like not like super sure. I can't really focus on it right now. So let's just go for next game. All right, getting the white pieces. Let's see what these opponents have in mind against our London system, and it seems to be fianchetto. Whenever you see pawn to d6, you should be expecting fianchetto. I'm just gonna be playing my normal lines, going for c3, and I think if they play the tricky knight d7, there is e4. If they play knight f6, we just transpose into the normal King's Indian. Now, looks like opponent just goes for some sort of kind of hippo setup. Not playing in the center, just trying to develop. We're gonna do the same. Normally in the King's Indian, bishop belongs onto e2, but when they play these setups that are not that ambitious and they're not like really threatening to break immediately, you could go a little bit more active with bishop d3. Wanna watch out for e5, and you don't wanna lose a piece because bishop on d3 remains unprotected, and usually you can just play back to e3 or g3. Against c5, we could take in a lot of structures and play queen c2, try positional play. Can also just castle. I think I'm like more about positional play here. Just taking because the queen won't have an easy square in this position. Queen's usually nicely placed here. We can castle short, play rook a d1, knight c4. A lot of people may try queen a5, but then it just has no square after knight c4. It's just like so ugly. Idea to just do this. Okay, on a6, always a4. Just go for a nice little positional edge. No need to try to like kill these setups. I know it might be a little bit annoying for, let's say, the newer London players because it is not that easy to handle because we don't have what you learn in your first days as a London player. You don't have that easy, straightforward play, but I mean, I think it's definitely pretty easy once you get a nice grip of these structures of when to go DC. This is the approach that we have in the course after c5, and it's definitely pretty easy to understand and quite effective. Just bishop back. They're just sort of weakening. Not really afraid of any kind of attack. Just rook d8, bishop f1 next, and trying to hand the enemy queen. Plays e5. Yeah, we have a5, knight b6 as an idea. Let's simply rook fd1. I think it's great. Also knight e3 to f5, usually a motif. Gonna start with this and bishop f1. I think it's like pretty standard. Could also consider bishop e6 and just knight e3, and then bishop c4 exchanging the light squared bishop. Now this would be pretty tempting. Although my pawn on a5 will definitely require protection, so not sure I want to commit to that. Actually just prefer playing knight e3 and try to go bishop c4, knight e5. Just play for the outpost. Yeah, bishop e6, just try to exchange his light squared bishop so that these squares will be much weaker. This is like a pretty nice and effective strategical idea. When they have a weak square, it's like really powerful to just exchange their bishop of that square. So without the light squared bishops, you'd expect this to be much weaker. Play rook d8. Also, we can never like always push this and try to take advantage of his overextended pawns. That's clearly a weakness in the position. Just gonna play this move, maybe preparing knight d5. Don't necessarily want to rush with it, but just knight e3 feels super useful. Maybe we could also play h4 next. We'll see. Yeah, okay. Against that, he's trying to stop me from playing h4. Goal of knight e3 is that now he's no longer g4. And after this, just knight d5 is such a nice knight on the outpost. Literally the best knight that you can ask for in a game of chess. Now he needs to be careful. I think queen d6 is a move. Probably he'll play queen b8. Queen d7 will drop the queen because of knight f6 and would pick it up. Queen b8 will be played. Okay, that's still a bit risky to me because sometimes there might be a fork. Not always though. But I'd be worried about it. Thinking about just trying to take advantage of this overextended pawns. He'll probably play g4, knight h2, h5, where just maybe bring the other knight towards f5. Looks interesting. I think we'll start by fixing this. Not sure if he's like actually willing to push f5. Maybe he will. I don't really see other active kind of counterplay. Okay, on knight f4. Would be tempted to take, and if he takes with the pawn, that's great. But he's gonna take with the other one. Opening up bishop's path, which I'm like not sure I want to see. Would love to play around that knight if possible. Can we just go h4? If g4, knight h2. Not really attacking the pawn, I know, but like challenging his f4 knight at least. Okay, this is still really tough game. Not easy to play at all. Maybe queen b3 strikes me as a move now. Knight e5, take you with a pawn. He has problems with e5. Queen b3 potentially playing queen b6. Okay, let's do that. Don't care about the check. King f1 and stay back with the h-pawn. And yeah, we might simply be preparing something like this. Hitting this pawn, or like queen c4. So let's see. Also f5 is now no longer a move because of check. Yeah, if he takes, I think that just loses a pawn, I thought, because this is under attack. Maybe we could try e4 intermezzo, but it definitely smells fishy. Like takes on b7, hit the queen. And now queen b3 is really shining because it's protecting the pawn. So that was a mistake. But position still pretty difficult. And now the London bishop will also shine. How nice. Look at this, guys. This is gonna be so nice. Oh my gosh. The queen b3 move just worked out perfectly in my favor. This is insane. Take it with the rook, threatening this. He should just go queen c6 and play down a piece, but that's gonna be easily winning after 95. Look at this, guys. Such a nice combo. So nice. He's gonna try out queen there, probably, but with just queen, we don't really care. Queen on b3 turned out to be genius move. I'm so happy. It was not an easy move. I think I actually spent like a minute on it. Just gonna queen. Everything is protected. Still no frat. I've got two queens. Two queens are two queens, just saying. Two queens are not one, but two. Which is pretty good. Can I just play this and exchange his rook? There's no like back rank, or we're chilling here. I literally have two queens. This is so nice. Oh my gosh, we've got two queens. Okay. Too bad the game is not gonna last for long, but really enjoy playing with two queens. threatening mate. And there we go. Getting the checkmate on the board. All right. So, yeah, about this game, it was clearly better for me from the opening. Like, sort of key point, first critical moment of the game was when I played DC5. I think it's like really strong move there. You see top engine line plus 1.5. Other ones are like really close to equal. This queen just has like problems finding a good square in this structure. A4 is always standard to a6, and the big problem for him is I'm gonna do rook fd1, bishop f1, and there's no square for the queen because bishop's covering the ideal square. And after that, I think we were just better. I might have played it a bit slow, like I agree h4 would have been a little bit more precise, but generally the positional way to exchange the bishop is very sound. I think all the moves were kind of okay, and queen b3 apparently best move. Just makes a lot of sense because it's either preparing queen c4 or queen b6. And yeah, I think next up I would have played queen c4 probably, and not so easy to protect this pawn. Have ideas to break on the king side, and should definitely be much better. Okay, after this is just lost because we have the London bishop that is really impactful even in this position. So managed to get the game. All right, getting the white pieces. I think we might have faced this opponent before. I think he's like the guy that we won in the Slav, but let's see what he has in mind against our London system. Hey, thank you for the prime healers. Appreciate it, buddy. Thank you. Okay, opponent just goes e6. We'll play e3. It's not really that big of a difference between e3 or knight f3 in this position. It's just that whether gonna meet b6 with queen f3. Yeah, but okay, one just transposes back into like the normal e6 lines. It's gonna play knight f3, bishop e7, gonna do knight e2, bishop d3. And okay, on knight h5, we can just sort of allow him to take on f4. It's gonna do c3, and now on knight c6, we're gonna be playing knight e5. Interesting to see that the opponent goes for this kind of stuff, where usually whenever you have this kind of structure, when they have committed to c4, e4 is the way to break. However, now that we have got such a nice bishop on c2, I would be really tempted to just play the normal plans, just trying queen f3, h3 next with g4, g5. It takes, take with a d pawn, bring the queen over to h5, get huge attack. This is usually very nice for us. I think this might even be covered in the course. I cannot remember though. Some lines I cannot remember, but everything is covered quite in depth. Okay, just want to push the h pawn down the board. Let's see what he has in mind to stop me. Probably nothing. He wants bishop f8. Could do h4 and then queen g5. Play the endgame. Hey guys, let's play an endgame. What's bad with the endgame? Think nothing. Gonna be playing an endgame once in a while, especially if he takes and we get to take this way. That is gonna be so juicy, doubling up on that h file. I cannot wait. Have you ever seen attacking in the endgame? I think that's what we're gonna try to do here. So do I want to play knight f3, knight d4 first? I know that's nice. Is it like my priority? Don't want to rush with it because maybe this needs protection. Do I want a long castle? Not sure because of b4. So I think just king e2, rook h4, and we double up. I think that's the play. I usually don't play h3 in this line. I'm normally just trying to mate it with like knight e5 to stop knight h5. Like for instance, if knight h5 ever happens, well, in this position I'm not like super sure, but here we can normally just even play c3 and let him take and play that pawn structure. It's not a big issue. Like most people rush with playing h3 in this structure, but it's usually just slowing down your attack. So I think your potentially missing out on a lot if you're doing it that way. Normally, knight h5 is not that big of an issue as people tend to think. So he wants to play with rook h8, I see. Okay, so we need to play this, and I think we need knight on g4. Then to f6, so we need something like this. It is a little bit time consuming, but it might be worth giving a shot. Also, e4 we can use sometimes to open up the position. I simply don't see how he's willing to like create any counterplay against this. Preparing to get a knight there, like h5. Take en passant. Okay, he's not even seeing it. He doesn't know what's coming. The knight's heading towards f6. This is gonna be deadly. This is gonna be so good. Oh my god. He's not even expecting it. Gonna be getting such a nice attacking endgame. b4, but that's like too slow. Threatening mate. Needs to take on f6. Oh, he just plays knight e8. Alright, I forgot about that, but it is very hard for me to believe that this holds. Simply refuse to believe that. Do I have my own right to refuse that? Activate the bishop. Maybe this. One day. I can't believe black can hold such position, and that's the mistake because I'm going to use the b file. So now I'm for sure winning. I get the second front of the battle, and we're using concept of the two weaknesses here. I need to watch out though, because here d4 and there's like bishop f3 trick and my rook is hanging. But rook b1 d4, there is bishop c6 winning. That's not a problem. So he's pinned, he's just doomed. Like d4, okay. Too slow. Like all of his pieces are now stuck there, and I can just play bishop c6 and win the exchange with a winning game. Okay, that was easy win now that he took on c3, but if he was not taking on c3, I guess we're still much better, but definitely it's gonna take quite some time to open up the queenside or like do anything else. We'll have to check that position. I think it's like pretty interesting from analytical purposes. Now, main issue for him is that his rooks are not connected and I can use this motive and win the exchange, so he just resigns. So, more interesting it would have been if he was not going for that. We'll have to wait because chess.com is gonna yeah, repeat the game as you can see. The computer is saying I did plenty of mistakes. Much better from the opening, clearly. Okay, computer doesn't seem to be bothered about this endgame that much. Beautiful maneuvering. Bishop a4. So it's like a +2 already. Now, I knew this was like really promising. Now, question is how to make progress against like, let's say, something that's not committing. Okay, why bishop e8? Like, what's that threatening? I don't get why computer plays bishop e8. Okay, so rook d2, let's say, bishop b7. How do we make progress? I'm like curious. Like bishop e8, and let's say he stays passive. Then maybe bring the rook. Okay, apparently computer just likes f3, e4. Maybe not so clever to play bishop e8 then just f3. And yeah, now do e4, de, take with the f pawn, and this apparently is just a win. Like bishop b7, waiting move again. Case of knight e8. Okay, weird that computer always thinks about this, but computer suggests rook d6 in this position, which is like kind of funny and crashing. Like if they take, it's clearly disaster on the dark squares and they have no moves. Rook d6 move was instructive. Other than that, not so easy to break. Like if you're trying knight d7, you're already worse. Thinking that trading knight so you can infiltrate, but rook d6 is classy way to infiltrate. I know these positions are like winning because it's simply that very rarely in chess black can, or like, anybody can survive with passive defense. There will be all kinds of motives like this. Sometimes it's not that easy to see in advance, but it should be something there, and yeah, you just look for it, I guess. Probably I wouldn't have found this in like blitz game, of course, but I think that's less important. So you can just go for next game. Right, getting the white pieces. Gonna be trying out another London, and okay, looks like opponent develops with a knight, and we might be seeing some kind of Queen's Indian or some sort of c5 line. We might just transpose to the normal stuff, but it is indeed the b6 stuff. Now, I'm wondering, is it here that we can go knight c3, knight b5? I think this is the position. This is pretty strong. I think this is like given as an alternative in my course, but I'm not really bothering with learning those lines. I think positions are like pretty weird, and even though it's a good advantage for white, I think, yeah, personally, I just don't bother with trying to learn that one. You can just play the normal lines and do pretty well in them. Just castle. No need to make Luft yet. Only on bishop e7 we make Luft. There's this. I think I'm just going to try to play the Kamsky line with rook e1. Waiting for a4, a5. Waiting for the 2 knight f3 update. Well, that's going to come at some point for sure. Just be a little patient. This bishop h2, cd, ed. Yeah, we're back into like the standard stuff. Not sure about rook c8 as a move. It's usually not what I normally see. Not sure about knight d5 either. Maybe prepping this. Very suspicious stuff. Like a5, knight b4. Okay, I could just play c3 to be honest, and then he plays a6, and then I do knight c4, he plays queen c7. Then maybe I can do knight e2 with knight e4. Yeah, I think that's how we play this. Expecting this, knight there. Just stopping his knight b4 threat, basically. Okay, now we have a5. Takes knight c4. He shouldn't have allowed me to push. I think that's a mistake for him. Black should always play a6 to have b5 against this. Now, okay, not only that we can take, but maybe we can throw in a6. Mainly, I think it's taking, though. Perhaps can try to infiltrate. Queen b8, queen a1, I'm thinking. Knight here, b5, knight a5. It's pretty strong. Could do queen a1 there. Looks pretty tempting to me. Just keeping pressure on the 7th. I have to say I missed this move when I played rook a7. That was a strong move that I missed. It's still not a big deal, but shouldn't have seen it in advance. Now, sadly, we'll have to go for a trade because queen a1 he takes and we're getting trapped. Perhaps I don't even want to play knight c4 because of b5. Then knight a3, b4 he can play. Yeah, this might be one of those positions where we play knight g5. h6, knight e4. I don't think we have any like sacrificial ideas yet. It's queen c6 trying to checkmate me. We just do knight e4. He takes, maybe take with a bishop, shutting down that diagonal. Taking with a knight maybe even allows f5. Plays rook a2, there is queen b3 I think, or even queen b1. Like which one is nicer? Like queen b1 hitting h7 in some lines. Queen b3, just forcing him back. I guess queen b3 is a little bit better. I don't really see how hitting h7 helps us, so then prefer queen b3. Keeping an eye on b6 at least. Maybe just now bishop f1. Making sure g2 is protected. Opponent playing pretty well so far. I'm not like suspecting him or anything, but play like pretty decent human moves. Still, I think I should have gotten something better from the opening than what I actually ended up getting, but still we've got one of these kind of thematic equal positions to play, I guess. Maybe queen b5 could be annoying next for him just to put pressure on the pawn. Knight f6 I think is a mistake because we double up his pawns. Oh, actually I forgot he can take with a bishop, but I would have traded anyways there. For some reason I thought we can take there, but the queen's in the way of obviously. Now I'm thinking of queen b5, just exchanging. So the pawn becomes a little weaker. The queen c7. Not sure about that move. There's no like immediate way to punish it, but interesting to see that he's not allowing the endgame. Now I'd be tempted to play something like queen h5. Not sure what I'm like. What am I doing with that? Maybe queen b4 is the move actually. Why not bishop b5? Pretty funny. Bishop b5 would have not been a great move. And also in general, I just wanted to get the endgame, you know? Let's just attack, kind of force bishop e7. Rook d8 allows rook a1 and we take over, so he's forced to play bishop e7, I think. Still, we don't really have an edge. Maybe bishop e7 can try out h4 and then h5. Gonna play h6 and my pawn can just be weak. But this is just like pretty flat. Can't really do much. Like that's sort of the truth. Maybe queen c4 even earlier was a better try than what I did. Like here. Maybe just play queen c4 in this position. But it's probably everything is equal. Would consider f3 just to shut down his stuff. Okay, try the endgame. He'll probably keep queens on the board, I would expect, the way he played so far. Okay, there you have it. Maybe bishop d3. In case of like rook c8, I want to go queen b5. Oh my god, no way, blunder that. Jeez. Oh my lord. Okay, still have queen a2, but I felt like I lost instantly. Wow, I panicked. Also, I consider rook a1, bishop c4, rook a8, bishop a8 was not good enough. Okay, now it looks like he blundered because I have rook a1 and he's losing. So hilarious. He thought he got me, but I got him. Such a weird tactic. But like, how is he playing queen b7 there? Oh no, he has b5 and it's all good. Okay, this game is just so bad by me. I'm not able to like spot anything on the map, as one of my students would say. Oh my god, that is so bad from both of us. Can I do d5? Then he just plays this. I'll do bishop e4, just force d5 next. I think that's the plan. Although he's gonna do d5 and then b4, so I'm like not so happy about it. Oh, I think I've got a great move. Watch out for this. I've got queen f1, and then this is maybe a threat, but then he just moves the rook. This is the craziest game that I've ever played. So boring, but so crazy. Oh my god, I forgot about a pawn. That was an important pawn, my guy. That was a pretty important pawn. Just wanna do that. Queen a2 now, and then there's no b push. Got him now. No defense this time. No defense this time. Oh my god. We managed to win such a dull position. That's insane. I did nothing great. I was just like goofing and blundering around, but we managed to get a winning position. So hope you find that somewhat instructive. Sure thing. Just take. This is not like running anywhere. I thought I won and lost this game like 5 times at least. Full of turnarounds. Really funny. Okay, time to collect our free piece. The only thing we have to do is just unpin, which is really easy in this position, I think. Oh, there's the queen. Curious to see what the computer has to say about this game, though. Curious to see, like, first of all, the game review and overall game analysis. Like, pretty strange, especially from the opening. I apparently scored a 90, even though I feel I was, like, at the lowest point of my career. During this game, there were, like, so many things that I've missed. Like, the first miss is when I played rook a7. I could just do queen b3 and we're chilling. We've got pressure on b6. And, okay, after that is equal. Apparently, I'm worse after this amazing maneuver. His rook a2 move was hella weird. Okay, we traded off. Equal position. Oh, I had rook a1, by the way, which I missed. This would have been beast move. Taking advantage of the back anchor. I was just again goofing around. Opponent thought I blundered. Found the only move. And then he's much worse. Queen b1. Gifted me free pawn. So I think h6 was the play, and then I wanted to go... Oh, then I would have had bishop d6. This is for sure something I would have missed. This is for sure not something I had on my radar. I think I would have just, played queen f1 in this position. Frankly speaking, guys, just being super honest, I think I would have played this. Slightly better. Not sure we're winning these, but that would have been such a nice tactic. With the idea to play bishop e4 and no more d5 push from my opponent.